Hi, everyone. Welcome to the March 24th Arts and Culture Commission meeting. It is 6:33 p.m. and I call the meeting to order. Now I'll pass it off to John to do roll call.
Thank you, Chair Wang. Okay, let's see. We have Commissioner Lamba here, Commissioner Ponda,
Here.
Vice Chair Laura.
Yeah, here.
Okay, Chair Wang.
Here.
So we're here and we are absent of Commissioner Chen. Okay.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. The subject is approval of the November 4th, 2024 Arts and Culture Commission minutes. The recommended action is to approve the minutes. Do we have any comments, questions, or motions?
A question. So a number of us were not in that meeting. We are all new commissioners. I read the notes and they look good, but do I actually participate in the approval?
I believe, thank you, Commissioner Lamba. I believe there's not a quorum for those and the person who was here, I mean, it's not part of the commission no longer. I believe we can accept the minutes. If you have no other comment, whatnot, if there's any change, I can talk to the city clerk about that and then come back. But if you have no changes, two of you can discuss.
I can make a motion to approve.
Okay, perfect. So 2-0 and then 2 abstain. If there's any changes, I'll let you guys know, but I'm sure something in Robert's rules.
Great. All right, I see there are no postponements. Moving on to oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission and not on the agenda. Are there any oral communications?
Can I do something?
Yeah, well, the oral communications for members of the public.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Seeing none, I close that. Are there any written communications?
None received.
Okay, moving right along to old business. The subject is study session to revisit the municipal code standards for art in public and private development, including the standards in the municipal code and developing an art in lieu fee policy. The recommended action is to receive a presentation and provide feedback for staff.
Right. Thank you, Chair. Let's, you want to allow Commissioner Ponda, do you have a comment for the commission?
For the municipal code or general?
Yeah, so I'm going to give the, well, you said you had a comment when we talked about the oral communications you had.
Yes, I was just, I suggested, I wanted to know about the culture part. Remember, we discussed about once. So which would need some time, maybe when we have convenience.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, part of my presentation is kind of discuss kind of what we had discussed. Part of the presentation is part of the discussion we had on our one-on-ones.
Right.
And kind of just repeating that as we kind of get into what the council work program item is. So let me just share my screen. All right. We go on delay. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Chair, for the introduction. John Martier, liaison for Arts and Culture Commission. So this is a continuation of of our council work program study session that we had discussed on September 23rd, 2024. And as we were transitioning to a newer commission where we knew we were going to have at least 2 and what ended up being 3 new commissioners, we wanted to kind of continue this discussion so we don't carry over an older commission's recommendations without giving the benefit to the newer commissioners. So as we start, before we start really deep diving into the study session, kind of give a little bit of background of the purpose of this commission, and then talk a little bit about what the council work program item entails, and then go into what to look at from the attachments to the staff report. And so again, the subject of this study session will be revisiting municipal code standards in the art of public and private development, and particularly looking at municipal code and developing an art in lieu fee policy. Okay, so what do we do as a commission? So again, the Arts and Culture Commission is identified in the municipal code under chapter 2. And under its powers and functions is to foster, encourage, and assist the realization and advancement of the arts and culture for the citizens of the city. Few of the things that we do, the big thing that the commission does, the annual artist awards, and as well as review and approve art in private developments as well as public projects. So one of the things about this commission is that you're one of 2 commissions that actually have approval authority over projects, the other being the planning commission. So really, there's 3 bodies in the city that have approval authority over things. That's city council, planning commission, as well as this commission. Again, enhance interaction between arts and business, and provide screening and overview for arts and culture activities wishing to obtain city funds or utilize public facilities.
So one question,
Yes.
just what is the point what is the place where we have authority? Because I know planning has a huge list, but we have some limited list where we have authority on approval. So what is that?
So for certain projects, development projects that are over 10,000 square feet, the municipal code states that they have to provide at least 1% of their pro forma dedicated to arts on site or in a lieu fee. And so one of the things that this commission does, and we'll get a little further into that, is that they review those art projects that they're proposing.
Good, thank you.
So again, these are 3 of those such projects. The forum, which is place. So I suggest going out to the forum and take a look at the art piece. Island Rome, as you can see, it's up and lit and everything. If you guys been able to see it at all, looks pretty good. And then Westport. So the chairs are there, and I just got word today that by May 16th, their art piece is going to be placed on Mary Avenue. So if you have more questions about that, commissioners Lumba and Tonda, let me know. I'm more than happy to send you guys the approvals. And then also public art projects. John and Park was one that we utilized in lieu fees, and I believe they're constructing it right now. And again, so review submissions for the city's 2024 Artist Awards programming.
So one question here, for the first 3 portion, did they pay in lieu and you selected the art, or they did themselves put the art?
They chose to do art on site.
Or they themselves? did?
Yeah.
Okay. And for the Jolly Man how does the funding happen when you put art in? Is the city pays for it?
So in that case, what happened was that the developer for the public storage building, along 280,
Right.
the big public storage building, they said, we could put art on site, but no one's going to see it. It was so far off everywhere. So the Arts and Culture Commission had allowed the developer to pay an in lieu fee for that. So the city got about $250,000 worth of money. And so council directed the city to utilize that money for the John Park art pieces. And so I utilized it. I wasn't able to get the last photo but I'm recycling the 2023 wonders. But this year was pretty cool because, as you know, and for the new commissioners as well, we allowed the artists who didn't win to display their art as well. So it was a little bit more. I think we had a lot more people show up. It was a little more interactive. I think it was very much successful. And just for the new commissioners, the piece that you see on the right is going to be the piece that's going to be placed on hopefully May of this year for the Westport development. So right along Mary Avenue. It's called Kaleidoscope Dreams, but it's going to be basically within a butterfly garden. So what we plan to do, engagement with the commission, the development process, evaluating uses to revitalize new existing local facing commercial areas, that includes shopping centers and whatnot. One of the examples I can give is that Main Street went above and beyond for their art pieces when they were only required to do $100,000 worth of work at the time, and under the old ordinance, they probably did close to over $1 million worth of art pieces on that development. Like we're doing tonight, revisiting municipal code standards for the art and public and private development. And the art and lieu fee policy. And we continue to engage with the community through the Distinguished Emerging Young Artist Award programming. Okay. So, City Council Work Program is a 2-year program in which the council annually updates and places priorities on. And one of them that they've done is they took the Art and Culture Commission's recommendation from a year and a half ago, I want to say, to add some art piece to that. And the exact language from the work program is to revisit the municipal code standards for art in public and private development, with the standards in the municipal code and development of art and fee policy. So for our discussion, we wanted to kind of center our discussion on chapter 19-148, which is the zoning standards for required artwork in public and private developments. The city does have a policy, which is under city council resolution. Numbered there is titled Guidelines for Selection of Public Art. It was attached to your staff report. What staff had done about a year and a half ago, Public Works and Planning staff, was we researched other jurisdictions to see how they treat their art requirements of private development. Do they have a separate art fund? How do they distribute the funding? And who are the decision-making bodies that approve art pieces, whether in public and private spaces? So when we discuss this, we want to evaluate the city's in lieu payments for developers. So one of the things that we discourage openly in our municipal code is developers coming in and wanting to pay out. We pretty much, as you know, we almost double the requirement for payment. That developers. So we want the city, the council in the past, and the city through the ordinance requires strongly encourages the development of art pieces on private development, which is kind of counter to what most cities have. Typically, it's either the same or they will take a less in lieu fee rather than, or they're encouraged the funding, the in lieu fee rather than having spaces. For our discussion on our update, should the city have a separate art fund to receive in lieu payments or from any other allocation source? When funds are received, what types of programs and projects should be subsidized? Which decision-making body should make the ultimate decision on projects, programming, or other funds? Should arts and culture be the ultimate decision-making body, or should it be the city council? Any other suggestions that the commission might have? So on our last meeting, which we discussed this on September 23rd, 2024, the commission at the time believed that the in lieu payment and valuation of art pieces on private development shall be maintained consistency across the board. So required art pieces on site to be 1% of the pro forma, or take a 1% in lieu fee rather than the 1.5% in lieu fee. So that way we're not actively discouraging in lieu payment. And one of the things that we don't have money in the city for the city to spend specifically for public art pieces. So we would have to pull from a general fund rather than a separate fund. It was thought that the city council should be the ultimate decision-making body for in lieu payments options for developers. So basically, sorry, Chair, I put that in there.
I think what it's supposed to read is I had a differing opinion.
Yeah. So the commission at the time wasn't unanimous about who should be the decision-making body. In many other cities, it's the Arts and Culture Commission that allows the developer either make the in lieu payment or provide it on site. Some cities just allow the developer to choose. Others will have their arts commission be the decision-making body. 2 of the 3 commissioners thought council should be retained as a decision maker about what should be on site or in lieu. I think Chair Wong, you were dissenting on that one. The city shall create and maintain a separate art fund, and that was again very unanimous and pretty typical of most cities that have some type of art program. So we're really probably the only one that doesn't have a separate art fund. a potential use of art funding should be used to develop an arts master plan and other commission recommendations. Chair Wang had a presentation on August 12th of last year that detailed very specifically other art programming or art programs from other cities. Although it's interesting, so I went to an arts discussion roundtable at the city of Sunnyvale with other jurisdictions, and the staff member who facilitates all the art in the city of Sunnyvale said that if we take an in lieu fee, we can only spend it on physical art pieces. So nothing, it can't be spent on staff. It can't be spent on I guess like scholarships or some other type of funding that doesn't contribute directly to the placement or the creation of physical art. So I'll have to double check on that one.
Sorry, who said that and which?
This was a staff member from the city of Sunnyvale. So we're at an arts discussion roundtable, which include our consultants, SV Creates. So they discussed there's actually you're actually limited. There's a big limit on what you can spend these art and fees on.
I have a question.
Yes.
So that's how Sunnyvale is doing it, but we can select what we like and propose from a commission. We don't have to do the same. Or is it some direct?
It was, I think it came out of a court case. I think, because I think it has to do with, what you can, the nexus between, if you're requiring a development to contribute towards an in lieu fee, that in lieu fee itself has to go through physical art. I mean, the city can spend, if the council decides to take from the general fund or any other type of fund and on its own volition, its own money, say, I want to, pay staff, or that's fine. But if you're using monies collected as an in lieu fee, it has to be used towards physical art. That's how it was conveyed at this roundtable.
Okay.
I mean, that seems, at least based on sorry for jumping ahead.
No, please.
But based on the table that you had provided several months ago, you had listed that at least Berkeley, one of their funds distribution options is grants for nonprofits.
Correct.
So would that be in conflict?
It could be. And again, a lot of these are based on recent court cases as well. I mean, it depends on how things are viewed during an appellate court. The court decides on many different things. So I think this is one of the things, now that we have a new city attorney. And so once we get further on the red lines of the municipal code and craft an actual policy, it'll have to go through the attorney's office. And that's something I'm going to have to talk to. I didn't posit this with the last city attorney because he left like a month ago and we just got a brand new one. And so it's that this new city attorney is basically very busy right now. So I think once we can maintain the comments of what we want to use it for, I think that's fine. I think on my end to do is run this by the city attorney's office to see, do we have this flexibility to do the spending?
So in case they had to present to attorney, what are the options available besides having a physical body of the art? Once I heard that was a grant to non-profits. Do you have other options listed or what we can suggest that can be incorporated in the list?
This is what, this is a study session. So I mean, you could propose anything, I want it to go towards staff. I want to go towards, plays or, theater or whatever else too. So these are, this is
Got it, yeah.
free for all. That's the top. So that concludes my presentation. Now, I do understand that few folks didn't get the agenda ahead of time. That's very unfortunate, and I'm very apologetic about that. So I can try to think of the best way to do this, Chair, in terms of, because I know the commissioners, Conda and Lamba didn't get the.
That's okay. I mean, we have an idea now, so
Okay.
we are pretty
Okay.
prepared for it. No worries.
So that concludes my presentation. Sure. Yes.
I did get the agenda, so no
Yeah.
issues there.
Okay. Awesome.
I-
Okay.
On this, Gian,
Yes.
what's the logic behind the developer performer being a certain space, a certain amount? I think it's 10,000 square feet. Why not 11? Why not 9? There's got to be some reason. Not that I'm questioning it, but I'd like to understand.
You know, the zoning ordinance, at least Cupertino zoning ordinance, defines a larger project from a minor project, and they use 10,000 square feet as a moniker. There's no science behind it, I don't think. I think it's just a nice round number to get. It's, you know, for the city of Cupertino, I think 10,000 is quite large. I think something like the
Yeah.
city of San maybe wouldn't be large, but, you know, that's something that we felt at the time that this ordinance would really be the starting point.
So
Yeah.
envision. So is it only like corporate like builders, developers, or any I mean, like single family owner, if it is 10,000, that also applies?
Thinking with resident, it has to be a certain amount of residential units as well. So let me look through the ordinance really quick, but a single family home would not be.
Will not,
projects,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
One more question slash suggestions for ourselves. Let's see where it goes. So for the in lieu funding, I didn't see clarity in any of the notes I read in terms of potential project pipeline. And I think potentially this commission could contribute by having at least a roadmap of examples that the city could fund for any in lieu, because that will guide us then. Do we want more in lieu in the future or more the way it's going?
Right. And I think that's chair, you know, chair and vice chair, I think that was kind of the feeling of the last commission was try to encourage, at least not encourage one over the other, leave it more up to the developer, correct?
Wait, sorry, can you, I guess, sorry, Commissioner Lamba, do you mind repeating that question?
Yes. The question was, do we, the commission, have a list of potential projects that any future in lieu funding could be used to fund?
I think that's, so I don't think we have a list, but I think that's what we were attempting to do. So during the August meeting, I shared a presentation trying to survey what are some activities that neighboring municipalities do to help further the arts. So, I mean, one example is commissioning local artists to help improve local spaces, either through murals, etc. I think other examples, this is a more extreme example, but actually providing funding and physical spaces for art residency programs inside of the city. And I mean, there's a lot more examples like, oh, I think another one was creating a physical space on city property to showcase art. I mean, you can imagine at a city hall or at another readily accessible space that we can have a rotation of artwork that is on display to help showcase our community members. So I think those are potential ideas that I guess was inspired by our neighboring jurisdictions that we could, in theory, recommend bringing to the city of Cupertino. I think the major limitation right now is we don't have the funding for that. So the idea is if we are able to create an art fund and add money to that through something like the in lieu fee, we would have more of an ability to push or to help create those opportunities. But today we don't have the money, so we don't have the list. But I think
Okay.
those really should come hand in hand.
I agree. In fact, I think I've gone through those notes. I think it's excellent, the survey that's been done and on the potential. What I'm proposing, and again, being new to this commission, I don't know how the process works. I'm just going to say what's in my mind and let's see how it fits in. I was thinking of proposing that we actually create a list, a structured list. Maybe, for X number of dollars, here's 3 options. Prioritize, in our opinion, for Y number of dollars. It's, for example, promoting a website or an art walk, or exactly what you mentioned, physical spaces, so that when we have in lieu, then we don't have to scramble to figure out and have the discussion, what shall we do? So that's an opinion I want to put on the table.
I think, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So, I wanted to add to what, Chairperson had said is that, right now, the discussion, I believe, is on how we want to look at the art in lieu policy. And because we didn't have the fund, we didn't have the programs. And I'm
Yes.
100% sure everybody can speak for themselves, but we can create a list of programs.
Yeah.
The question then still comes back to the current agenda item, which is how do we want to define the various elements of the art in youth policy, knowing that, yes, if we did have the fund, we will be able to roll it out into amazing programs. Then with the caveat, what we have just heard from the staff report, that there could be guardrails on whether we could even do that. So my proposal would be to look at the art in lieu policy first, with the option that we may have the funds, which we may be allowed to use for other programs, but we may not be allowed to use, and then it comes back to a physical public art piece, and that's okay. But I think for the current agenda item, we come back to look at the elements that we want to define for the art in lieu policy.
Got it. That's a good proposal.
One question, Commissioner Lambert, we didn't get the email for the agenda. What was your source? Because I was confused. I was not having it. So just wanted to know, how did you get the agenda?
It's in the email, in the city email list. And I'm trying to think. I think it came, which pointed to the website, which had the agenda, if I remember correctly. I saw it like 2 weeks back before I started my travels.
Thank you. So in addition to what Vice Chairperson said, so if I remember, you said that the in-lieu policy has not been decided or defined, and it's not very hard structured. So we still are framing it. So it's on us how we decide and define what comes next. Is that understanding right?
Yeah, so we have a policy, the city has a policy dating back to 2005. So in terms of like, if we receive our piece, or if we go out and purchase an art piece, what are we looking for and whatnot? And in actuality, if you look at other cities' policies, ours is pretty well defined and consistent with theirs, if anything. What we're missing from that policy is certain standards, such as what percentage does the city spend on the art piece, and what do we have to allocate towards overages, towards installation and whatnot, which some other cities do have. And I think that should have been in the I think that was in the table that was sent around too. If not, I know that when I did that research, I did it with Public Works, their CIP division. And so because they're the ones who are ultimately going to have to place the art pieces in the public right away. And so in terms of whatnot, so certain I believe I do have it. If you look at let's see, yeah, if you look under funds distribution on the table, and I could share this as well. Yeah. So I'm not just talking in the air. Right here.
And I guess taking a step back, just to talk about process, I think the goal for today is for us to to review the policy and come up with recommendations for, I guess, what direction we as a commission wants to see the policy going. And then after, nothing's gonna be final though.
Right.
It still needs to go to, I believe, a city council study session level. And then at that level, that's where the decisions will be made on how the policy is actually shaped. But our job is to provide a recommendation of how we think we can update the policy to best serve our community.
And I think, and just to continue with the chair was saying is that, I'd like to come back in the May meeting and have like some type of red line document to look at. So, because I still think that because part of this will be updated the zoning ordinance chapter, it might have to go to planning commission first or council. Again, new city attorney, new perspective on things. So I'll have to see, but I'd like to at least get a red line version of the changes to the commission prior to taking it beyond outside of this to either council for a study session or planning commission for their recommendation as well. Let me know if you want me to keep this up there for discussion. Chair Lamba, Mr. Chair Lamba, Commissioner Lamba, can you see this okay?
Yes, I can.
So again, so in terms of fund distribution, that column talks about how, like, for example, Berkeley, they're allowed to do up to 20% of their funding towards admin of art fund. And then 10% of that to maintain the art pieces going forward. Other cities like Belmont don't have clear percentages. In many times speaking with the cities as well, because we did interview a number of them too. They didn't want to establish certain percentages because it limited them. It didn't factor in things like inflation and labor costs and whatever else too.
If there's any feedback I want to give on this, it is art is not a precise thing that we can hard and fast percentages like 10% for maintenance. It depends on the piece. So less constraints, the better. Having said that, the decision to take in lieu versus let the developer do the project should probably be with the city council, but with our advice.
So Commissioner Lamba, so basically maintaining the current standard where the Arts and Culture Commission recommends the council whether the developer should pay in lieu or on site.
I just have one suggestion, but there are very limited things that our group is entitled to be. If we give that right away also to council, we have no authority of doing anything as a approval policy. So if they have given us this responsibility, we might as well try that.
Yeah. So and that's I think part of it too is changing the ordinance to have arts and culture be the deciding body rather than recommending for that. I mean, so that's something that
I somehow feel that the role of Arts and Culture Commission in this item, or even in, well, let's focus on this item, would be to give a recommendation to City Council. And I think City Council is the representing body of the community. We are not. So as such, I feel our role is making a recommendation and the City Council to review it. I would think in most cases, they pay serious attention to what the council, what the commission along with the staff has prepared to recommend. But I feel it's better placed within the role of the council than the final approval of the Arts and Culture Commission. With the note also that it's a pretty large ticket item.
Are you okay with the Arts and Culture Commission maintaining the approval authority of actual art pieces?
Yes,
Okay.
that I would. That's my perspective.
And how about the decision of the percentages? I mean, it may be blurry, but how we can do it, that our suggestions will be working upon, right? We'll be working on that of how do we spend the into.
Yeah. If I may, I believe that would be the next point, that once we do have an art in lieu fund, how does the Arts and Culture Commission, do they get to approve that full fund to go back to the city? We can discuss that, I think, separately, but my item was the first one, that full decision on how what the funding would be, that 1% number, if we stay with the 1%. That the commission makes the recommendation to the city council for approval by the city council.
So I guess my perspective, I think there's two decisions, or two decision steps. The first one is whether or not the developer is allowed to do an art in lieu, or if they have to make the public physical art. And the second decision is what do we actually do with the art in lieu money?
Yeah.
So I'm 100% in agreement that I think for what to do with the money, that should be a commission recommendation, council approval, because I mean, that's dealing with significant funds from the city or in the city. I think, however, I'm of the opinion that whether or not the developer should be allowed to do an art in lieu, I believe a commission should be empowered to make that decision. I think for two reasons. I think for one, well, this is a discussion point, but every additional layer of approval that we add to the process inherently discourages someone to go down that path. So if we require 2 layers of approval in order for a developer to go with the art in lieu, we're effectively discouraging them from doing art in lieu, which, at least my personal opinion, is that we want to make it as, I guess, as balanced as possible. Because I think there's a lot of potential that we could do if we are able to collect art in lieu funds. I think the second, if you look at the 7 jurisdictions that staff surveyed, every single one of them are listed as developer discretion, and they do not require council approval. So I believe going with that route of less resistance would actually be better harmonized with just what is out there today.
I'd like to revise my comment. I highly agree with the chairs, and thank you for breaking it up into those 2 black and white elements. I'm going to try to repeat just to make sure I'm saying it right. The decision on the developer the developer paying in lieu versus doing the project themselves is a commission decision, is the recommendation here. What the city does with that pot should be a commission recommendation. I want to pause, make sure that David Wang, Chair Wang, this is what you said, because I highly agree with that.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so which means the first part about the developer discretion on art in lieu or public art, that is the current policy and that remains. Is that correct?
Correct. So
That's fine.
what the municipal code says is that, if the developer wants to pay the in lieu fee, which currently is a higher percentage than if they provide it on site, this commission is the recommending body to city council. I think what the chair is saying and Commissioner Lamba is agreeing with now is that it should just be the ACC, I'll just say ACC, is the final decision-making body on that rather than council as it is.
Yeah.
So.
I'm okay with that too. I was more referring to the actual use of funds.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actual use of money, I
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, once, just to clarify, when you say it's the final body, again, can you clarify?
Sure. So final body would be like body meaning either commission or council. It's like, this is a body, right? So the way the municipal codes has it stated is that the developer can choose to do a in lieu payment, or they can, choose to provide it on site. If they provide the art on site, the decision-making body is this commission. They approve the art piece, they look at it. There's certain standards that the art piece has to make in terms of location, design. If the developer says, like in the case of
Westport.
not Westport,
Oh, yeah.
Alan, bro.
No, oh,
Storage.
storage, public storage. I don't know why, it's like two words. It's public storage, they chose Lou, and, and we made the findings to do that, it would be the ACC agreeing with the developer or not agreeing with the developer and recommending the city council as the approval make by. So and as the chair brought up, it's inherently functions as a way to discourage the developer from spending in lieu money. They want the developer to take on the project management, the placement, it's not my opinion. It's, it literally says it in the municipal code, discouraging with payments. I mean, those are the words that say it. So, yeah.
Right.
Hopefully that clears it up.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
One question here though, when we are the main body of deciding the artwork, can we have a say of prioritizing our local artists as compared to outside arts?
So I think that's part of the policy, and I believe the current policy has that as, it's about being a unique artist as well. In a sense that, what we don't want to see in the city, and this is in the ordinance as well as the policy from 2005, is the same artist doing every art piece amongst developers, because, and that could happen, you got a guy who's, hey, I'm cheap and I can get it done quickly, and that's what we want. So one of the things is uniqueness. It doesn't, I take it back. I don't believe it says prioritize it has to be local, but it could be part of the policy. I mean, that's something that if the commission wants to add that.
That will be suggested from my side, because I would highly recommend to encourage our talented local artists, because I agree we have like very amazing international global artists, but to bring out the city best in their art and design, that would be highly recommended and suggested.
Yeah. So this was exactly what considered. I also want to think back. Somehow I thought it was written, but maybe it was not, because we had a very serious criteria, and this was one of them. Again, my suggestion would be, let's review. Now, that is still now, I think, a sub bullet point on what are the criteria of selection, and we can define them more sharply or more loosely as we wish. But as we are now going down the elements, if it's possible to start defining what we already agree on, and then move further on what are still the items we'd like to.
Okay,
Real quick. The current code states the developer is encouraged to give preference to artists living or working in the
Yes,
Bay
yes.
Area
Yeah.
and to avoid using artists whose work is already displayed as public art within the city of Cupertino.
Yeah.
So that's written in today.
Already.
And if we want to propose any updates, I mean, we should, but
That's what I felt.
what's
It
already
was
there.
quite
I-
clear.
Yeah.
But so is this already existing or are we, yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
So is it possible to capture what we have already agreed on?
yes, so let me do this. Let me just open up my PowerPoint slide.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I will type, because my memory is horrible, as evident.
Oh, forgot.
Yeah, where am I? Good Lord. Let's see, share, and what I'll do is this, fine, okay, let me do this, let me just write on this blank.
So I had to move, I couldn't.
No, it's fine. So, first thing is that I think we actually agree, the commission agrees to ACC will be Arts and Culture Commission, to have ACC to approve in lieu payment option, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just, what was the sentence? Approve in lieu, yes.
Thank you for your patience, guys. All right.
Just to clarify, are majority views or they had to be unanimous?
This is not, I mean, like we did last time, there was no motion or whatnot, but I think it was kind of like a straw poll, with the sense like, who agrees to this and whatnot, correct?
I think if I understand your question, I think it would be majority.
Yeah.
As a body, any decision we vote on, and I mean, anyone is welcome to vote yes or no on anything. But the recommendation from the commission will basically be whatever wins the majority.
Thank you so much.
First one, I think, yeah. Could we just add, continue on that, the developer has the discretion as is in the current policy?
718.
Yeah.
Are we okay continuing the recommendations from the last meeting over to this one? With the exception of bullet number 1, which is changed. So
We
as
can review the previous.
Sure.
one.
not a problem. So maintain just the valuation is equal instead of like having a valuation that is 1.5 for in lieu and one, we do a 1%, okay? Council decision-making body, so we just,
Let's read the second, city council.
yeah, so that's the one we changed. City shall create and maintain a separate art fund, we're okay with that?
Oh, sorry, for the bullet point 2, because I don't know whether that part of chair does, if that's clear, either. Okay, or could we then also add to it at the recommendation of the ACC, so the.
Sure.
Which item were we talking?
So this is city council be the decision-making body for in lieu payment options, so that has changed in this meeting. What I believe you were saying is that the arts and culture to approve the in lieu payment option rather than recommending approval or now it's the approval authority.
Yep.
But that to be little confusing because you say the discretion is with the developer to give in lieu or to build themselves. But the first point says the body approves the in lieu payment. So I'm a little bit lost there.
So Vice Chair, so what you want to say with this one is clarify that the developer has discretion to choose, but then choose to apply, but I think that's already in the ordinance, whether they have choices, either provide on site or in lieu.
So
Mhm.
what first point doing?
Yeah, that's a question then.
Yeah, okay, so I think the developer does have discretion to choose, but either way it has to go to the ACC for approval.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
that's in here, okay.
So
perfect.
it should not be the word approval for just, confirm, because we're not approving it. They already have a choice. They do it and tell us. So we are just agreeing to what they're doing.
Right,
Well, I think there's multiple tiers, so the lowest friction would be developer discretion. Which basically means developer can do whatever they want, they don't need approval from us or city council.
Right.
I think what we had agreed upon several minutes ago is we want there to be commission approval. And then the highest friction option is commission and council approval. So which one do we want?
The second one, as it's written
Okay.
here. So
Middle
to
one.
for you, Commission. Yes, they have the option, but the option still needs to come to us.
Right.
And then we
Yes.
give them.
Okay, just to clarify, in case we have a conflict, can we go back and veto it or no? If we do, they say we we make our own painting, we don't do in lieu. And we have to approve whatever they suggest? Is it expected in that way?
We don't have to approve, we can reject it.
That's what yes, thank you.
Yes.
it could be something similar, if I may, through the chair, it could be something like, I don't know, so it's like in development that's right on Stevens Creek Boulevard, that's highly accessible to the public. I think the commission can look at that and say, well, I mean, it's, it's publicly accessible. This would be a great place to have public art. Whereas something like a new Apple office building, which is not accessible to the public, having private art on that space is not to the benefit of the community, rather take the money and spend it somewhere else. So I think that's the type of things that the commission will look at if when making decision about whether to accept a new payment or continue with our physical or private space.
Correct. My doubt, where it came from, that whatever they give, option 1, option 2, they choose option 1, we confirm with it. They give option 2, we just confirm with it. We are not making decisions for either in lieu or in art. We're just going with what they're suggesting.
Well, I think you are making the approval. So in this case, if the developer says, I want to do a new loop payment, we would, staff like myself would take that decision to the Arts and Culture Commission in this case. And you will decide whether the site is not good for physical art and to accept the proposal from the applicant or the developer saying, yes, in lieu, it's good in this case. Like public storage, right? Only really accessible to the people who are using the storage facility, not for folks like you and I to kind of drive out our way on Valley Green Drive and get lost and,
Got it.
find something.
Got it,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's up to the commission can also view, say, no, you know what, it's kind of cool, art in hidden spaces, it's kind of cool to have art hiding out in the middle of nowhere, and that's, it's kind of a trek and, and that's up to you, and that's something that's still more than what other cities do, but, I think it's been I guess the consensus among the commission to maintain that authority or oversight over art.
Yeah, I like the word oversight actually, because otherwise we wouldn't even know what's happening.
That's true. That exactly. I agree. The word oversight is better than approval because we are not actually approving, we're oversighting it. That's a good one.
Yeah, but let's keep the word approved, because there could be an instance where we are strongly not for their option.
Okay, got it. Sure.
Yeah, and just as a reminder through the chair as well, we do have in the ordinance, there are standards like, when you do, these are the findings you have to make. These are what the standards are for the art piece. It has to look like this. It should look like this. It should be, again, like the chair read off, it shouldn't be the same artist who's doing 20 other pieces around the city. And, which Apple was very good at doing for a little bit, back in the, in the aughts and like 20, 30 years ago, to see if you drive along North D'Anvers, you can see the same colorful art everywhere.
Observe that pattern and stop it. That's good. That's what we are learning every time. Very nice.
So the next bullet, so we got this, awesome. And so Commissioner Gurmey, you talked about promoting like certain types of art, which was like promoting an art walk, and whatnot. Did we discuss? I think the last time we discussed this, we talked about funding, using funds to do like art master plan. As you noticed through the table, there were certain links to some cities developed art master plans, which took community input and kind of at least gave a guiding document for council and the Arts Commission to decide where to use those funds. Is that something that's still and that the commission would like to see used if we can to develop some type of art master plan?
I have some perspective on that, at least I'd like to share it from also remembering from the previous meeting. To use the funds to make a master plan comes with a cautionary remark that we will be using a lot of staff time for the output being a document. Right? So I just would use that with caution as a recommendation. My personal opinion is to use the funds as effectively for the benefit of the community with minimum overhead as possible. The perfect example is the public art done by the builder, right? All the project management, everything is their responsibility. The second level will be if we have the art in lieu fund for that, and then we put in our effort along with probably always some staff effort to define what we are going to do with it. But I think to make a master plan, which is a document to define, is not the most exciting and the most effective use of the funds. That's.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think ultimately it comes down to how much does a line item cost in terms of money and time, and what is our perceived value of that money spent. So I mean, if someone has a quote of sorts of how much a master plan would cost, I mean, I think it would be interesting to see that, but I think based on our previous discussion, I got the sense that it it would cost a lot of money and maybe we wouldn't get as much out of it.
I missed the last
Go
idea
ahead,
of
please.
what master, because you mentioned the word master plan. If you can give us an idea of what that entails, we can get a little bit of insight, a peek into it.
Sure. I think what I could do, I could pull up an example of a master plan quick.
Tell us, like, just to get an idea.
So let me show from Sunnyvale has one. I'm gonna just open up the windows on the table.
Actually, we don't have master plan yet. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, okay, no, that's it. I thought we already had. That's what okay, got it. Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, here's my, sorry,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah, and then I'll speak.
Run something in six figures. You know, these master plans, I mean, typical planning documents are even go over $1 million. I don't think it'd be that expensive, but you're looking, multiple six figures.
Okay, so here, based on what I'm hearing also, and I agree with a lot that was said, master plan sounds complicated, big, costly, will constrain things. We will spend a lot of time and energy, and it may not be all that valuable eventually. Okay. The other extreme, where we wait for in lieu funds and then start talking about what we could do with it, also sounds to me not quite responsible. So, what was in my mind was a simple brainstorm of the 5 commissioners, if something like that is doable, and on concrete examples. It may not be those that we'll do. So that way we are thinking about it so that when the opportunity comes, we are not starting from scratch. And that's it. It may be 5 bullet items in a spreadsheet, and it's not binding. It's got all the caveats, but at least we start thinking of how we can improve the city of Cupertino if we were to actually fund programs. That's it.
Good one. I think, I believe it's very flexible, but we still have a template, a roadmap to go forward with. But if need be, we can always change, alter it. So that's good one. Best of both worlds. It's not hard, fast, and we do have a direction. So I believe that's a great suggestion.
Could we take that, or could we take Commissioner Lamba's recommendation as like homework for us to maybe share during the May meeting?
Yeah.
Like maybe everyone go home, brainstorm, think, what are some ideas that we would, or we could do with the art and lieu? And then we can compile that document during the May meeting.
I would agree with that. I can also add, just something I have learned from the last mayor's meeting, and I probably have an update on that, but which is different. But what I learned was it is possible in a commission to make a task force or a subcommittee of 2 commissioners, because you cannot have 3.
Correct.
You can have 2 who can go offline and study a specific topic and come back and report on it. And if it's that thorough enough, it can be very quickly evaluated by the commission, something similar to what you said. But we may decide to do that format next time. If we like a few topics that we all agree on, hey, let's not use the staff time and the formal public commission time. And let's do that offline, do the homework and come and report in 15 minutes, something like that. That can work very well.
Actually, I totally agree, because in library had this poetry laureate, so we had a subcommittee of 2 to 3, and also it will not defy the red bag, what that rule, red
Has to be 2. Yeah.
more than
Brown.
2, we cannot
Yeah.
connect, ban around it, yeah, some red bag policy or something, I don't remember the exact.
Darn it.
Yes, so brown, yes, saying red bag, sorry. So that way, we don't have to connect to more commissioner, because that will be anti-policy, but 2 or 3.
Only 2.
Only 2, yes, 2 of them, that's a good one, yes.
So may I propose then, and again, this is based on what I'm hearing, we use, our homework is each one of us pick 2 to 3 crisp, clear, potential projects. We put that on the table so all of us get to know each other, where our minds are in the next meeting. Ask questions on that, but it's literally a brainstorm. We can follow that up with a subcommission of 2 if we decide then that we want to explore a few of these a little deeper.
Yeah, I would agree. That's what we've just discussed here.
Sounds good.
Great. You got homework. I'm kicking myself.
If I could offer it, we can do one-on-ones. I can do one-on-ones with each commissioner to kind of, if just let me know. Just reach out to me about days and times you're available. I'd be more than happy to kind of brainstorm together with you. If you need any help researching or if you need me to connect you with colleagues in other cities, I'm more than happy to do that as well. A great resource I found is the city of Sunnyvale. I think they're on point. They're amazing, amazing staff, amazing community. I don't know if you guys have been to City Hall over there, just. Yeah, it's beautiful, but anyway, but they had a lot of, I mean, they basically kind of, well, the gold standard, at least in the South Bay. Also, we also have a consultant from SV Creates. I know the two of you had talked to them. We have the city, no charge to the city. They're more than happy to review our policy. They couldn't make today's meeting, unfortunately, but they're gonna try to make May's meeting. Once we decide on a date for May.
Sounds good. Light.
Yeah.
Let's start lightweight. And then we can decide subcommission / getting a consultant involved, so on. That's my proposal.
Yeah, thank you for the idea. I think that's great.
All right. Are those the two ideas are good? Are we good for the discussion on this item? Chair, Vice Chair?
I'm okay.
Were there any other items that we had kind of brought to the table but didn't conclude on this?
Right, let me check the list again.
Well, last time we unanimously recommended that city council would still be the decision-making body for spending money. Anyone disagree?
Maybe we capture that specifically,
Yeah.
that, I think that
Yeah,
would be
that
my
this
proposal.
commission also agrees with that.
Right, perfect. So and that's, I think that's on my slide, but I can,
So that we don't discuss it again.
Yeah, yeah.
perfect. Okay,
You're good with this?
we're good? All right.
Thanks all.
So
So, huh?
we have a few more items.
Well, actually, so let's talk next steps. So we're gonna have a meeting in May, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
And then during the May meeting, John, you're gonna come back with a red line version. And commissioners will come in with our 2 to 3 ideas of what we would want to do.
Okay.
And, right?
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, before we say bye-bye, can I have 2 minutes? Because I had something to ask. I wanted to suggest something, but maybe it didn't get into the agenda. If you suggest, permit, because it's not on the agenda, but I want to ask like some questions. Is it okay with all of this?
I would think, do we go to new business first and do future agenda setting?
Okay,
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate for future agenda
sure.
setting.
Let's do that, yes.
Did we have to? Did we have to figure out dates for the May meeting, or was that later?
Yes, I was gonna do that during staff and commission reports, if that's okay. We'll do new business, which is election of chair and vice chair.
All right, exciting.
Okay.
So item number 3, election of chair and vice chair. The recommended action is to elect the chair and vice chair of the Arts and Culture Commission. What do I do? Maybe.
Well, so someone makes a motion to recommend somebody.
What? Before we move to motions, can I make a remark?
Sure.
And can people share if they want to?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think historically, we've liked to rotate who's chair and vice chair, just to ensure that everyone's voice has equal weight. Also to spread the responsibility. So in that tune, I'm not looking for, I guess, re-election as chair. So the floor is open.
Bummer. I should have spoken first.
So I have a recommendation. So although it is rotated, I believe you have expertise and experience before. they also have something to teach the new people. So in library, we used to go, vice chair becomes chair, there's a new entry in vice chair. And the next year, vice chair becomes chair, and there's a new entry. So in this way, I would highly recommend Ms. Kiran to become the chair. And we can have another vice chair new person. I mean, this is my recommendation.
I'm in support.
Accept. Motion on the floor. Anyone seconding?
Would you be open to the position?
Yeah, I'm okay. with the position.
Okay.
I've said no long enough.
Then, I move for, Vice Chair Rora to be chair. Do we
I
have a second?
I second.
And a second. Second. And then the chair, you motioned?
Oh, I already motioned.
Yeah, so you motioned. So you're
So we
the
vote.
motion. Commissioner Lamba, you're the second, so now we vote.
I suggested that.
Okay.
That's the first one.
So do you want,
Yeah, I
so you're the
suggest,
motion? So
yes.
actually, so she's the motion.
yes.
And then we'll do Lamba second. Okay, let's do a vote. Commissioner Lamba,
I approve.
okay?
Yes.
Commissioner Pat,
I,
I,
aye. Oh, congratulations. Vice Chair? We have a motion?
So, I heard what the commissioners have said. At the same time, I'm looking for some also because we have commissioners are new and there's a term of 4 years. We can do it both ways, but my recommendation is to have David as the vice chair. That's my motion.
Motion, okay?
I second. Oh, I thought you were not contesting, and that's why I'm here.
He's not contesting for chair.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I didn't realize it. I second.
Second,
Yes, sir.
okay? All right, and you accept?
I accept.
Okay, accept the motion?
Thanks.
I
Aye.
highly agree.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank
Honor to serve.
thank
Honor to liaison.
thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay,
Right, the next item on the agenda is staff and commission reports. I would like to invite any commissioners to provide any reports pertaining to the commission's jurisdiction. Do we have any reports? I believe,
Should I-
actually, should you be leading?
Oh, from the next meeting. Oh,
technically, yes, but I mean, if you're okay deferring it to vice chair, that's fine. As your first act. I table my duty.
I defer to continue this meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
That
I
was
believe
tough.
Chair Rora, you attended the mayor's meeting.
Yes.
Anything to report?
Yes, if I can now, right, yeah.
Actually, for context for everyone.
Yeah.
Is it every month or every other month? I think every month, the mayor holds a mayor's commissioner meeting. So typically, it's either the chair or the vice chair who attends. And it's either in person or over Zoom. I think it's been changing, but it's an opportunity for commissioners to report to the mayor what the commission has achieved, what they're thinking about, what they plan to do. And it's also an opportunity for the mayor and the city manager to report to the commissions what's going on at the city level. So Chair Rora represented the commission at the latest meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy to report. So that was on March 19th, the meeting, but I'm going to ask Sean from the staff, is it possible to open up that document?
Did you send?
It's that, the 3 bullet point, it's in that same email.
Oh, right, okay,
If you just pull up my points from the email is fine. Thank you.
Sure,
If you didn't have a chance to.
and I'm very sorry about the mishap.
Yeah, that's okay. I was there.
I definitely were there.
I was too excited. No.
Don't personally, that happened to me as well. I
Okay.
showed up and.
Okay.
I remember that happened. I can't believe it.
happened to me.
We're like the most normal commission, sorry. We're the fun commission. We get to do fun things and this is let's see, somebody guys to say.
Maybe I have a recommendation to them next time to do a roster if this is happening that often.
Okay, let me see over here. Do you know when it was
19th.
right.
Yeah, and my notes are from 18th or 17th.
I think I found the document. Do you want me to?
My resending. I'm
No, here.
You can connect to
Here, I
the,
got it right here. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it right here. Yes, thank you.
thank you so much.
Sorry. All right. Yes. This is it, right?
Yeah, these are my points.
Okay.
Okay, I'll first review this. So this is what I reported, and I actually like the format. So now the format is, there's this Google Doc in which we are allowed to put in 3 items to report for our commission. So these are the items. Well, I was a little bit smarter than that. I called it 1, 2, 3, and I had some bullet points. Okay, I got it. Okay, so the first one was the 2024 Artist Awards Program. So I reported on that. We had a theme, sustainability in the community. And we had very good participation. So over 210, I think that's somewhere down the line. If you just scroll up. Further up, yeah, so 216, yeah, submissions. And always an honor to review this as part of the commission. And this was always exciting. And the mayor, and I must say, mayor had actually already read the notes. So I really commend her for doing that. And some of them may have come in quite late, I don't know. I did submit on Monday. But she was very thorough in that. So she recognized this is a good program that the Arts and Culture Commission does. And she's always very supportive of that. She was very, very appreciative of that we have reviewed, thanks to you, Vice Chair now, but thanks to you, the programs from our close by districts. So she was very, very happy to hear that and is very excited to know what would be our ideas. And I said, we will be discussing that and we will come back to you on that. So she was very supportive of that. And even more so of the art in lieu policy that we are studying. And I did commend the staff on providing us the reports from neighboring cities. So I said that's something that we will be doing in the March meeting along with elections. So I had that, but it was quite nice. Others were asking about the artists awards and how's the evaluation and how do we experience that. So that was kind of a general from others. But overall, she was very, very appreciative and was very engaged in the discussion. Yeah. In fact, I was first to go because the audit committee was not present. So, okay, with the AV come first. So everybody's still awake.
That's awesome. Awesome. Great.
Thank you so much. for-
And so there is a full document, if that's okay, I mean, I think it's a public document, but the whole attachment now, which has the bullet points from all of the commissions, can we share that?
Yeah, we can call it a desk item and then include it as written communications.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
just that, because I don't want to go over all of them, so I think there were some key things that were presented. There's the Earth Day coming up. I think that was Sustainability Committee was wanting us to spread the word and invite the community. There was a safety day, but that already happened, I believe, last weekend. And then there was
There's
Yes.
an education fair, something coming up for college and student and high school students, I believe. I don't remember the date, but I saw it in the magazine.
oh yeah, that's from the Teen Commission.
Right.
Yeah, the Teen Commission exactly reported on that, the career guidance, workshop that they're doing. And I also want to report on 2 other things. One was the Library Commission supports, I don't know whether they sponsor, but they do oversee the what's it called? The AAPI Culture, Arts and Culture.
Yes,
Culture Days.
display of the pictures in the library, in the main room.
No, it's an actual Culture Day
Okay.
on May 22nd.
Oh, Diversity Day, that one, the multi, okay.
I think it's Asia Pacific Parents Teachers Association.
I think they're calling it AAPI Multicultural Festival
That's the one.
on May 24th.
Yeah, May 24th.
Foundation.
That's the one. Yeah, so they did ask for some help and for that, but that's okay. The tech community, commission is called the technology. It has also a nice name, technology.
Tick.
Yeah, tick, yeah. They're also doing highly engaged in this cybersecurity and the scam prevention activities for the community and encouraged us to kind of spread the word. So all of those dates are in that document. That's why I do want to share it with everyone. So that we all have that and can. pass it
So,
on.
Chair,
Next meeting, yeah.
Chair, so will you send me the document so I can, the PDF of the document or?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I can do that. Oh, yeah.
awesome. And then-
So that now coming to the how often they've decided to do it once in 2 months
Ah, okay.
and in person. Okay, so the next one is, and they changed the date. I believe it's going to be a Wednesday now, a third Wednesday. So the next is 21st of May.
And because now it's only once every 2 months, do you want to just take all of them? When it was every month, we would alternate vice chair.
Oh, okay.
Now it's only once every, do you just
Yeah,
want to take all?
I mean, I can do it unless if I can't do it, then I
Right,
will, please ask for your help.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that was that concludes my report. Thank you.
Any staff reports?
So I think the main, there's two. The main one is dates. And let me share that. So if you look at on the webpage, we've just by tradition done the fourth Monday in the month. Come on, share. The one that we have to change, I know, is May 26th. As much as I like you guys, I want
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Real day?
That's Memorial Day.
Oh, so, awesome, nice.
So I have that up there, the dates.
Oh, perfect.
So we can look at, if any of those other dates don't work for you either, let me know. So two dates that are important for the Artist Awards is July 28th and November 24th. So July 28th is when when Jessica's gonna come in and talk about theme and whatnot. So that's typically a very, very fun commission meeting. And then 11/24 is a really fun one where you get to choose the winners of the art and stuff like that
So
too.
you mentioned that the date for 5/26 will change.
Yeah.
Which one will it be then?
So this is what I'm asking you. So we can do any date. I mean, honestly, because the ordinance doesn't say whether it should be a Monday or Tuesday. It just says every other month. So we could do the week before, we could do the following week, we could do the same week, so there's two criteria well, let me think about it. The one big issue is not conflicting with other commissions. Okay, so particularly council. So we don't want to have the same night as council or planning commission. So Tuesdays aren't the best. So I'm thinking probably maybe a prior Monday, I would believe.
Does anyone have any conflicts with May 19th? Just the 1 week prior?
That's fine.
May 19th, okay.
That's what I would have proposed.
Do you want me to do a quick
Update, yes.
view of? Yeah, I mean, I think the rooms would be fine. Well, if there's another commission, they would use this room. So that's a good point. No, why are you doing this to me? Look.
Change the slide, come back to it. You can.
Yeah, I just gotta look over here.
Yeah, 5/19.
Culture. What, not audit committee. Anything. Disaster design, the community, let's go. All commissions, let's do that. Okay. Great commission. Great commission. I think we're good. Tick. Okay. Okay. Recreation Commission, that's not 5. I think we're good. Okay, so 519. Good.
And then does anyone have any conflicts with any of the other dates? Actually, can I propose the November one? That's a week of Thanksgiving, so people might be traveling.
Yes,
Can we pull it 1 week earlier?
yes.
To that would be November.
17th.
Yes, yeah.
17th.
Okay.
Sir, can we change? Yeah, let's took a.
Yeah.
Update.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, that, no.
So, let's do this. Let's do May 19th. And then we'll do November 17th.
Perfect.
Commissioner. You states. Commissioner Lambert, you good with those dates as well?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was looking at my calendar and flipping. I'm good for both. So May 19th and November
17th.
17th. Yeah. I was just flipping to my calendar on my phone.
And for the November 17th date, let me double check with Jessica to make sure she can make it on that date. But I think it should be fine. Okay. Great. Good. Let's see. Other thing is, I know that now Vice Chair Wong, we talked about kind of getting this commission and the art pieces and the artwork out in the scene. The next scene is gonna be published in you guys are Cupertino Scene, the magazine. It's gonna be published in August. So I'm gonna continue to work with our communications department division to put an article out there, kind of focusing on what the art pieces we've approved probably in the last like 10 years or so. And also talk, hopefully about kind of what we're doing right now and whatnot. So I think, and then artist awards too. I think that'd be good. We need some good news. Some positive news. So. Okay.
For that, let us know if there's
Yeah.
anything that we can support.
And if you guys are okay, I'll check with the city clerk, but if they want to interview any of you, are you guys okay with being contacted?
Yes.
That's it for me.
Next on the agenda is future agenda setting. So this is an opportunity for us to discuss any items that we want to talk about at future meetings. You're welcome to bring up any ideas. And you will need a second for it to be added to the list.
A suggestion for the future agenda. So for our Art and Culture Commission, we are focusing beautifully on arts. But what we need to add is a culture part of it. We don't, I think in our city, we have a huge number of events and cultural things happening, but we don't have a presence there. So I'm suggesting in the future meeting, let's discuss all the events in the calendar and request council to have us be a part of those cultural events, because we also are a cultural committee. We haven't emphasized our role, our presence, our visibility there. I'm not saying that we will do it, but we'll be an advisory and also be involved, contributing to it, participating in it, promoting it. So our art and culture should be visible in all the city events wherever it's happening. That's my suggestion for the future discussion, if that is okay with you.
I would second it. I had in fact also mentioned something to this effect. Several meetings but we had a lot of topics we were already considering, so it didn't get the space on the agenda. So yeah, I would say.
The good thing as chair now, you get to decide the agenda.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other ideas, things that people want to talk about?
Disagreement. A few. One is, if at some time we can get some visibility into future developer activity. We know the projects right now, but there is some things in the pipeline. So we have some kind of approximate roadmap of things that may come up. So
If I
that's
could-
one. Yeah,
Uh,
please
for
go
the-
ahead.
If I could, so we do have web pages on the planning division's website. We have sub pages, child pages on the planning division's webpage that lists future projects. The vast majority of them are townhomes. We probably have like 8 or 9 coming through, as well as we have like Apple's VP1 project, which is might extend that entitlement next month. So those you can look into. Developers are always asking who to contact for advice or contact for support or explanation of projects. If you'd like to be contacted by a developer to discuss our pieces, one of the things that they want to do is pay in lieu. That's up to them, whatever. But that's up to you. If you guys want to meet with developers or open to that, that's something that's your prerogative. I think you just have to be, if and when it comes to for the commission, you just have to acknowledge that you met with the developer.
Okay, I'll go through that webpage. Thank you. I have a second, which is, sorry, let me pause. Did somebody speak?
No, all I was saying, I can send you the link if you'd like tomorrow.
Okay, that'll be great, yeah. Thank you.
Actually, maybe one relevant example is, I believe someone from the Marina Plaza development project reached out to the commission. This might have been before you two were added to the mailing list. But I think that is something that's coming up.
So there are also community meetings that are not required, only encouraged by the city. And those meetings are developer run, not city run, but they do invite, decision makers such as planning commissioners and city council members as well. Marina is one of the ones, the marina developers are one of the ones that they cast a very wide net over everybody. So I think did Amy send out?
Amy was the one who reached out to
Reached
us.
out to, okay, so we can forward you the emails from her, the invite. I believe it's the first week in April is the community meeting.
There were 2 that.
Two? Yes.
One is not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or is, yeah. Even-
April 2nd and April 5th,
Oh, they're both 2.
both at Aloft Cupertino Hotel.
Okay, the second one I was going to put on the table is, as a potential agenda item, is to, I want to offer, we do a field trip to the Palo Alto Arts Center and have the Arts Center director walk us around and talk to us about the public-private partnership she has and the location. Just opens up eyes for everybody. If the commission is, up to it or would like to do that.
Yeah, to extrapolate that, you also mentioned that Sunnyvale has a beautiful structure. So, Palo Alto and Sunnyvale, and wherever you have good experience, we all can go together, discuss about it, and how we can bring it here that way.
Yes.
Brown Act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
No,
All of us together, then is the Brown Bag Act still a problem?
this is an item I can discuss with city clerk. I know cities do, of course, they do offsite stuff. We do commissioner trainings and stuff. Obviously, there'll be more than 2 people from a commission there. outside events. I know the planning commission for City of Saratoga does field trips the day before their scheduled meetings. I think as long as no specific items are discussed of city business, I think it should be okay. I think that's something to clarify with the city attorney. But if there's, a second motion, yes, if there's something second, okay, field trips. And let me,
Field trip, it wouldn't, I mean. One version of this is it doesn't even need to be agendized, right?
Yeah.
Like we could just go on a field trip.
right, I mean, you can go individually, this is something that I'd like to coordinate SV Creates to see if they offer something like that too. So one thing SV Creates does, and I'll be better at forwarding their emails. They do a lot of events like the one I went to in Sunnyvale. I know I sent out to the commission probably late last year, where you have roundtables and discussions with other commissioners and stuff like that too. So I'll continue to forward those when I get them, with their events and whatnot. So those are good kind of networking opportunities as well. Right.
Okay. If you have any other ideas after this meeting, feel free to reach out to John or the chair.
But thank you so much for talking to me before the meeting.
No, absolutely.
And also thanks to David to give an insight. Both of you were awesome. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And again, I offer, I'm the liaison, so one-on-one meetings anytime, just let me know. And I'm more happy to fit you in my schedule.
Okay, if there's no other items, I'll move to adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 8:04 PM. Thank you all.